And them boys are back on the 420 Deluxe episode.
V has been looking specifically for women that are over 350 pounds and under 5 foot tall.
And stoners.
So that he can just fuck their brains out, or so that he can, get some sort of stroke when they ride him.
I'll get a stroke, all right.
You will get a stroke, yeah.
How's your day been, Ape?
I had a few strokes.
On this lovely 420.
Yeah.
You were a fan of it back in the days.
I used to smoke so much, I used to never limit myself. If I saw weed and the weed was available, I would smoke. You sparked it up famously, hundreds of times, I believe.
Oh, gloriously.
I can't even remember.
With pleasure.
I can't even remember the amount of times it was, bro. You provided a Buddha statue at your house. You invited me in.
As one should.
You showed me the power of bong rips. Let me take a quick pause here. Just to recognize there's another stoner in the building here.
We do got Jozz.
Jozz is back.
I'm back, bitch.
Jozz is back.
Say hello to the people. Get a little bit. Now don't break it.
Hi, baby cakes. Yeah. Jozz is back.
All right.
Yeah, fucking drugs. Drugs are a tool, bro.
Well, drugs are excellent.
They're technology.
We've always used them for a reason, right?
Yeah.
It's a little way of hacking the brain.
Yeah. It's a way of feeling things more.
And there's various cheat codes.
I can't believe I'm doing a bunch of the fucking face.
Well, it's 420.
Well, not yet. Pre-420.
It's 419.
That's 420, Josh. Shut up.
Oye, cálmate.
Anyway,
You're getting her aggressive, buddy.
yeah, she's interrupting. Like, come on. Don't interrupt, Josh. Don't be rude.
I'm so sorry.
I forgive you, Josh.
I didn't burn you.
Anyway, yeah, fucking, I can't believe it is the weed day. It's the fucking stoner day.
It is the stoner day.
Yes, sir. Shout out to all the stoners out there.
I don't understand what's so special about 420. I can understand if you're not a stoner.
Back then it was the shit, though. Don't lie.
If you're not a stoner, you can have a lot to look forward to on 420 because you can actually smoke that day and just end up in a state like a fucking vegetable or some shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just end up laid back in a couch like a fucking Dare commercial. Like a stop drug abuse commercial. One of those old school, the flat girl on the couch. Her friends there saying, she used to do this, that, and the other, but now she just enjoys life getting high. And they make it seem like it's a bad thing,
Getting stoned helps you make you feel like...
Stoned.
Yes, but...
Yeah, you fucking stoner.
It helps you feel the present more deeply.
Stoners do think that it feels like a present when they get high.
You get rid of like a little bit of ego, not too much maybe.
It can, yeah.
You know what I mean?
What that's interesting you say that because back then I used to get high and go to like jiu-jitsu sometimes, and then when we would roll, like when we would spar, we would just go there, and I noticed how much ego there was when I was high, because when I was high I didn't give a fuck about any of that shit. I would just take a chance. Yeah, I was just so relaxed mentally that I didn't give a fuck if I got tapped out or any of that shit. So I would take chances and I would try new shit. Which is what you're supposed to do when you're sparring.
And then, but when you're sober and just normal, you're like all tensed up.
There's more ego.
Yeah, there's more ego. You're more tensed up. You're more like...
Yeah, you don't want to get caught.
You don't want to look like you don't want to get knocked out. You don't want to get beat up. You don't want to...
Well, you won't get knocked out in jiu-jitsu, but...
You know what I mean? You don't want to get...
Yeah.
You don't want to get slammed
on shit. It's ego, bro.
Yeah, it's ego. That's all it is.
But goddamn, the weed removes... It probably doesn't do that for... I mean, I've seen people that are stoners and they still got a big ass ego when they're 100%, fucking high.
100%.
It's different for everybody. For me, though, it definitely removed the fuck out of it, bro.
Oh, 100%.
I remember rolling high and I didn't give a fuck.
I've tried so many new things because of weed.
Yeah, it makes you think outside the box a little bit.
Yeah, dude, back then I was so way more closed-minded. 100%. Like, and, hold up, dude. I'm just distracted. Somebody had called me. Who the fuck called me?
What?
I called you.
Josh, why are you calling me? Oh, no, it was my boy who called me.
Josh.
Why are you trolling?
Remember when I asked you what you were doing when I was drunk and how you were right?
Hold on, let me call Maya. He's calling. Hold on.
Maya's really coming?
Yeah, but later at night, like way later.
This fucking guy.
He always interrupts me. He doesn't give a fuck.
You gotta do something about it, Josh. You gotta fucking punch him in the nuts or some shit.
Yeah, what's good, bro? I'm kind of potting right now. What's up?
He definitely wants to get spanked.
Yeah, Yeah, right? I give him hugs. Like, I should fucking spank him.
And let me tell you something. I don't know if you noticed this.
What's up?
When we had a podcast the other day,
pull up at like 11:30.
The second that you mentioned that you stuck your entire arm inside of your man's rectum, this man, his eyes fucking lit up. Right? He was another guy. He was waiting. He was like, fuck, I gotta get a chance.
Yeah, bro.
Of course, I'm back, guys. My bad.
He's been staring at your hands the entire time we've been here. He's looking like, holy shit.
With rings and all.
If I could get her like shoulder deep in me, my life would be good.
Look at that smile.
He can't hide it.
Right, I can't. What was I gonna say? But yeah, weed is.
It's more about what you were gonna think.
It's crazy how like.
What are we gonna do?
I wonder where I would have been.
You saw how quick I did that shit.
I wonder where I would have been if I didn't smoke weed.
You'd be smoking weed.
You'd be probably sober.
No.
You know what I mean?
You would be into pills.
I would definitely be sober, 100%.
No, you would be into pills.
I've never taken a pill.
You think you'd be doing something? You'd be aspiring to do something that's more typical?
grandiose, like a typical like a your ordinary typical person.
You'd be working your way up to be a fucking nurse
type shit. Yeah, I wouldn't have like the creative.
You'd be really getting passionate about accounting and starting your own accounting firm and doing taxes for your friends.
I'd be a mid-level person.
I don't think so.
You'd be a portion of what you are.
Right. What do you think do you think drugs are used mostly by geniuses and the deeply disabled?
I think drugs are mostly used by people that are further from the average in terms of personality and intelligence. So I think drugs are often used by people that are highly intelligent and highly retarded.
That's
not too retarded, not like Down syndrome.
Yeah, I was gonna
shit.
say. I mean, but also people that are like going through something.
Although that'd be fucking lit if there was like a Down syndrome group of people getting high, you know.
People that are suffering would take people that are in pain.
But people with Down syndrome are not suffering like that. I mean, they're very happy.
No, I wasn't alluding to them. I'm just saying like
notoriously happy.
When I said deeply disabled, I meant someone that's like down bad.
Yeah.
Like just fucked up. Like he's mentally just through it. I would say a lot of people that do that or that are fucking going through some shit lead to drugs. A lot of times it happens. So I was saying,
I think so.
I was alluding that mostly it's like, and then the mid-level people are just fucking. They're just they don't expand their consciousness. They don't expand their state of mind.
You know, what do you mean by consciousness when you really say it, you know? You're just talking about your mind, aren't you? Isn't it interesting that like when we talk about shit in scientific terms, we always talk about how, you know, we can measure all this shit. We can observe it.
Well, hold up. Well, you just asked, then let me just ask you then. Well, you agree that after you took drugs, your consciousness, it went through a different stage.
Bro, there is zero doubt about that.
So you agree on that?
First of all,
so
anybody,
wouldn't you be
anybody that takes DMT and says,
"Oh no,
it was fine."
Yeah, I'm still the same person.
It was a little bit of nothing.
What's DMT again?
It's just I mean, you could call it.
Right?
Yeah, it's psychedelic.
Yeah.
It's like the craziest one type shit. Like
You
it's.
can find it where? Gas station?
Oh fuck no.
No, Josh.
No, you got it. First of all, I don't even
Cannot find it at a gas station.
I don't know how my friend did it. I had a friend like this is probably like 10 years ago or some shit. And I was telling him about DMT and he had recently become a stoner and shit and he was like, "Fuck, bro, do you know where we can get some?" I was like, "Unfortunately, no, bro. I've been searching for years." This motherfucker hits me up a week later. He's like, "Bro, I know how we're going to get DMT. Get in the whip.
Loser. We're buying DMT.
We go to a fucking pharmacy, a CVS.
Oh, Lord.
And some fucking guy parks next to us. We get in his car.
Sus as fuck.
And he gives us this fucking like brown shit in a baggie. And I look at him like, what the fuck?
Right.
And then I was so shocked. I had no idea. I was like, how the fuck did this man just manage to do that? And he tells me, he's like, I just went on Instagram and asked some people. I was like,
valid.
You know what? I probably should have done that. You know, that probably would have been the way.
Yeah. I got you shrooms once.
Yeah, you did.
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, you did shrooms?
I've done shrooms. I've done
shrooms 3 times. I had 2 ego
yeah.
deaths.
It's a fucking the ego death situation.
I got 2 ego deaths out of the fucking 3.
Ego death is
real.
on another fucking level.
Yep.
You know, that's about as
Bad.
That's about as far as you can get.
Yep.
But yeah, regarding like consciousness like changing,
100%.
I was just gonna say the mid-level people they don't change their reconditioned programming, like how they've always lived their life. It's always just gonna be, it's just that.
The problem is how many factors are involved. Like Timothy Leary, you know, the famous psychonaut, right? He talked a lot. Thought I was gonna burp. Nope. All right, he talked a lot about set and setting, right? Just the concept of preparing in terms of your mental state before you take a psychedelic, and also preparing your environment before you take a psychedelic.
Was he like one of the first that like?
He was a psychologist, so it made sense that he would talk in terms like that.
No, but I'm saying, like, did he come up with that like whole thing?
Set and setting?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his whole thing. He was.
But before him, no one was ever like, "Yo, guys."
It's possible that there was someone, but nobody really was thinking about psychedelics
Like
and research like that.
Right. Okay, that's interesting.
He was the one who came out and he said,
He's like, "Yo, catch a vibe first, bro."
he took shrooms one time first, and after he took shrooms, he was already he had gotten his PhD. He was a psychologist already, and then he ends up saying, "Fuck, bro, you know, I ended up learning more in those 5 hours on shrooms than I did in my entire fucking education about the human mind."
That's insane.
And so he went from there.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's an intense little situation.
That's
of
a
history.
wild statement.
But there's no way. I mean, for example, people like Terrence McKenna might say that, and they did say that psychedelics don't work on stupid people. It's hard to tell what he means by work. I mean, I guess what he means by work is that, you know, it opens you up to the idea that everything you know could be wrong.
And what's stupid?
Well, what's stupid is...
What would you consider a stupid person?
Well, I mean, if I were to just be empirical, I would just say that it's...
Low IQ?
Yeah.
That's it?
Let me try it. Let me just taste it to see how it tastes like.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yes.
That would be it.
Just don't want to interrupt, is it?
Just low IQ. But I think that it looks like that Michelangelo painting where you guys passed that shit.
Right?
But I would tell you like I would tell you something, but I forgot what the fuck I was gonna say.
No worries.
Just the irony that I'm the only one that's not high here.
No worries.
You're getting contact high.
I'm getting contact high. This man says it doesn't exist.
Today's the day, if anything.
Yeah, we'll
I'm smoking Dutch Masters.
we'll see.
Yeah, that's just a little. Anyway, speaking of Timothy Leary, fucking, what do you think of his? Well, he came up with it, and then I believe Robert Anton Wilson expanded on it. The Eighth Circuit or whatever. Have you ever heard of that?
The Eighth Circuit.
Yeah. I'll give you the exact name right now. Hold up. It's the Eighth Circuit model of consciousness.
Oh.
And it's like pretty much the first 4. Mm-hmm. We could look up the specific names if I have it somewhere. But
yeah.
The first 4 is pretty much more or less like for the survival of the human species. Mm-hmm. And like for life on Earth. And then the other later 4 would be things like fucking out of this world type of thing, like like some fit like consciousness and this and that. Hold up, I got you with the names. Watch.
You sound like a fucking stoner right now.
I mean, I am with I forgot. I'm sorry.
Saying it's fucking consciousness and shit.
I agree.
I know.
Fucking-
I'm talking bullshit. Hold up.
Fucking stars and fucking galaxies and shit. We're
Listen,
fucking.
if there's any episode, it could be this one.
We're fucking high.
You're high.
Oh, absolutely.
If I give you like to smoke this, would you smoke this with me?
Oh no.
Ape doesn't smoke.
Oh no. No.
Why?
First of all, that smile you gave me right now, that looks like the smile of somebody who would give me a cookie and not tell me that it's laced with weed.
Yep.
So that when I'm driving in the fucking highway, I think the
All right.
apocalypse is here.
All right, so these are the 8 circuits of consciousness.
Yeah.
It'd be like that.
The first one is obviously it's like bio-survival circuit,
Okay.
where it's like just survival. Like
That's like the first level of consciousness.
Yes.
Starting from like the biological.
so like infancy and like fight or flight type of shit.
Yeah.
That's like your first like. That's just how we're gonna fucking survive. So
it just sounds like psychoanalytic shit. This.
it has to do a little bit with that.
But go ahead.
But the other 4 is where it gets more. Yeah. So 2 is emotional territorial circuit. So that's like, think animal behavior. Who's the alpha?
Well, the first one is animal behavior. It's the most basic one of animal behavior. It's just survival.
Well, it's like social ranking, dominance.
Okay,
like
there we go.
Things
Yeah.
like that. So
For mammals, yeah.
yeah, and animals and shit. The third one is it says the symbolic and neurosemantic circuit.
That's sort of where humans start getting in there because animals are not there.
So this is like rational thought,
Yeah.
math, you get it, XYZ, whatever. Fourth would be social sexual circuit.
Okay.
So this is like
Trying to get laid.
sexual behavior,
Okay.
social roles.
That one is above reason.
I don't think there's
This
like
isn't a hierarchy.
This isn't a hierarchy.
Okay.
No. So yeah, I'm just laying
Because I
them
would have
out.
been fucking
Yeah, I'm just laying them out.
flabbergasted if you
Yeah.
tell me that.
All right, and then the higher circuits. I mean, this is what it reads here. These are potential circuits. Most people, these are like the ones that people don't activate. These are the ones that
It's like the
this is-
hypothetical ones that you...
that we need to like elevate.
Altered states of consciousness are required for that.
So, somatic circuit.
Okay.
So this
the
is like
feeling.
bliss, body
Yeah.
awareness, sensory expansion. 6 is neuroelectric meta-programming circuit. Self-awareness of mental programming. It says it's activated by deep introspection, psychedelics,
Meditation.
mental training,
Yeah.
meditation. 7th one, it says neurogenetic circuit. So this is like connection to ancestral memory or species consciousness.
No,
This is some other level shit.
There we get into the ancient aliens type of shit.
Yeah. ChatGPT says think Jung's collective unconscious or the idea of past lives.
That's exactly what came to mind when he said that.
So yeah. And then the 8th one is neuroatomic quantum non-local circuit.
That sounds like
This
the
is
biggest
like
load
the-
of shit I've ever heard in my fucking...
This is like the hit of DMT
That is
itself.
hippie shit. Hold on, let me take a piss on that before we come
ahead,
back,
go.
bro.
We'll
I
be
got
right
shit to
back.
say about this 8th circuit.
We'll be right back.
Back from taking that piss,
Yeah.
what was this 8th circuit hippie molecular shit?
I was just reading. This is all from ChatGPT, by the way. So
It's good enough.
yeah, take it with a grain
It's
of salt.
good enough for
listeners.
conversation.
Yeah.
You know, this is one of the things I notice. There's no reason for us to be worried about whether or not that's the idea that someone came up with. Who gives a fuck? You have the idea. You
we
have the idea.
I get it. I know.
Just
we just
fucking
we'll-
focus on the idea.
We'll work on it ourselves. Right?
Holy shit! I almost dropped my vape.
Oh, that would have been.
Not
We
that
would have to stop the pod.
we would definitely. I would go to the hospital.
Yeah. I would take care of you, bro.
What do you mean?
Okay. Anyway, imagine I'm like that worried. Like, yo, he dropped his vape. Yo, guys, I gotta quit everything I'm doing in life
I
and
quit
like
my job and shit. Fucking
social life.
just abandon everything. You know.
Like, I gotta do this.
Fuck, bro.
Just living in accordance with nature.
That would be the opposite of living.
So yeah. What were we talking about?
I was just telling you about it. Like, just deal with the
Oh, yeah.
ideas. Who gives a fuck?
The 8th circuit shit, though, yeah. So yeah, pretty much how our brain has all these little things, and
Yeah.
we have to, I guess, alter our state of consciousness in order. Well, drugs are like a big catalyst.
Is
and
this
to do
one?
that.
Does this stage have to do with a transformation of consciousness?
Oh no! I was just talking off the top of the head. The laugh circuit was the fucking crazy like god type of being. That's what it sounded like.
Yes.
I'll tell you right now. Hold up.
Yeah, the regular occurrence on ego death is just like the connection with everything.
Yeah, it was saying the goal of this one. It was, by the way, it was neuroatomic / quantum non-local circuit. So the goal of this one is the unity with the universe,
Right.
Enlightenment, cosmic consciousness,
Yeah.
and it says activated by near-death experiences, DMT-like states, samadhi. I don't know what that is. And a state beyond individuality, pure awareness, timelessness. Fucking amazing.
Yeah, the dissolution of the ego.
Wilson links this to quantum physics, non-local mind entanglement. Mystics call it God consciousness. Psychonauts call it ego death.
Yes.
So there's that.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about it. That's why so many people get fucking terrified during ego death. You know, they start fucking having to let themselves go, and it's not a choice. Like
Is ego death just 100% awareness?
Well, I would not describe it as 100% awareness. I mean, it can come out in many ways, but just it always does have to do with like the self completely dissolves. So the concept of the self is completely eliminated. There's no distinction between yourself and the rest of the fucking universe.
So how do you feel then? Like, how could you even? I know that's impossible to describe, but like.
Are we talking about shrooms when you're
So.
on shrooms?
No, just the ego death.
Just ego death,
from any sort of psychedelic state.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Like, how do you feel? Do you feel? Is the feeling extremely different from how you usually feel?
So the thing is that usually before the ego death arrives, there's a lot of fear that comes up because the self is dissolving, and you're a fucking human, so you're extremely attached to your sense of self.
Yeah.
And feeling it disappear is extremely terrifying to a lot of people, to most people.
That's why it's called ego death. It's like you're dying away.
And so after that, and honestly, I had no idea what ego death was before the first time that
you experienced it.
That I experienced it, and so I just woke up the next day after I was able to fall asleep at like 6 a.m. or some shit. I woke up at like 5 p.m. and I thought, nobody told me that I was gonna think I died.
Right.
Right. I was not prepared for that type of shit.
It's fucking insane,
right.
Dude.
But I did think I did feel like I died. You know, but one of the things is just that.
Are you having thoughts that you would usually have when you're sober?
No.
No, but like just things like, let's say just things that when you're sober you think about things. And let's say you have the same reoccurring thoughts but just on this outer body experience.
Man, don't even mention reoccurring thoughts. You can get into like loops when you're on certain psychedelics.
I meant like do you like analyze things that you've thought about? Like in general, just in life, you know how we just think about things we go through and stuff.
I mean, it depends on the drug that you're on.
Right. That I mean.
And the other thing is that usually you'll have more things like that occur during like the process of getting to ego death.
Well, not every drug is gonna give you ego death.
No, definitely not.
So it would just only be psychedelics, I'm assuming, right?
I mean,
a motherfucker getting ego death off the tree is crazy.
Well, Terrence McKenna talked a bit about that. Not really the ego death, but just the way to maximize the benefit of weed.
Let's hear this.
In terms of being a psychonaut, in terms of exploring the inner world.
But is it intertwined with other drugs?
He's just talking about weed in this case.
Do you know it?
He was a massive stoner, by the way.
What was he implying? Like, what was he?
His idea was this: if you really want to maximize the introspective psychonaut, element of weed, which you're supposed to do, the way to do that would be to be sober for like 6 months or some shit, or a year, and then what you do is you close yourself in a room in silent darkness and you smoke until it becomes physically impossible to continue doing so. And then you remain there in silent darkness.
Motherfucker wants you to knock out?
It's not about falling asleep.
No, I know, but I'm just saying.
It's about inducing a weed-produced panic attack, basically.
Right.
At that point.
I feel like I've been there a couple times.
Yeah.
I won't even lie. But
no,
he's on some Epicurean shit. Like, he's trying to maximize it by, like, not smoking for 6 months.
Yeah, but it's not about pleasure, though. He's not seeking pleasure from this. He's seeking the experience of being able to inspect the inner workings of the mind.
Through weed.
Through altering one's state of consciousness, right? Because it's like if you're don't get me wrong, you have minor shifts that you could consider altered states of consciousness. You could consider taking a cup of coffee.
We're talking about a dramatic
state of consciousness, but a dramatic alteration.
We're not talking about some,
Right, so a dramatic alteration of one's state of consciousness.
Right now, my mind is an altered state of.
Yeah,
But I'm still pretty much alike as how I am usually.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's weed, and you have a tolerance for it, and you're used to know how its effects are. But the reason why such an altered state of consciousness was so paramount to a guy like Terrence McKenna, because it was a completely different frame of reference. So you can think of being in just a regular, your sober, regular state of mind with tiny alterations, like you take some coffee or you take shit in the morning, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But then there's other things that you can do. So in that state of consciousness, you're always in a situation that's sort of stable. You have no frame of reference. You're fish in the water. You have no idea that you're surrounded by the water. You're always there.
Okay.
You want to shift that frame of reference to give you a new frame of reference. And that's just through a temporary transformation of how one perceives the world completely. And one of them is the ego death. So the ego death is the biggest part of psychedelics as far as I can tell. I don't think there's anything greater than that exists in psychedelics. This is genuinely something that people have been obsessed with forever. Entire religions were based on this. Religions that people would not dare to speak about in public, but everyone knew about, everyone respected, and everyone wanted to join. So the mysteries were based on a process of creating an experience that mimicked the process of dying. So they were based on initiation, and in initiation you would feel as though you had died through the ceremony and whatever the fuck they did to you there. And then you would come back. And you would come back supposedly a better person, and you would have lost this fear of death. And you would have just had a much better life according to the mysteries based on that. So the mysteries are based on that. Psychedelics produce the goal of initiation in the mysteries.
That's funny.
Now, of course, there's some people who would say, oh no, psychedelics were not used in the mysteries. First of all, we don't know that. I can't prove to you they were used in the mysteries.
So why say it?
Because what they're describing is exactly that.
It's extremely similar to...
It's that. It's about, they literally are about the death of the self. So they're trying to create an experience where you get ego death, where you feel as though you had died.
You don't think they could have performed that without any drugs?
Oh, I'm completely open to the idea. I'm just saying that
that would be insane, right?
That it seems very connected and very innate for there to have been so many.
Drugs been around forever, bro.
So many religions that were dedicated to this, and that those religions were always kept a secret.
Yeah.
And that what people try to do nowadays when they're sober, through some fucking hippie shit like, alchemy and Rosicrucianism, to try to transform consciousness through this process of interacting with symbols and narratives and ideas and introspection and thinking about shit and ceremony. All of this shit is just a way of trying to get that different frame of reference, the shift of consciousness that people would get through psychedelics.
Right.
Anyway, entire religions were based around that. People didn't fucking say shit about it. Okay. People did not even speak about it. Even Plato would shut the fuck up. He'd be like, yeah, but we don't talk about that. Right?
But why, though?
Because you were not supposed to speak about the mysteries outside of the...
Did everybody hold it down like that?
Everybody held it down like that. That's why we know jack shit about the mysteries. Nobody divulged shit that was not supposed to be said.
You don't think that was a bad thing, though? Why you don't think that it's bad that they're gatekeeping it? This information?
I think... Let me give you a little bit of a mindset here. So, when people talk about history, people sometimes mention things as being anachronistic.
What does that mean?
What that means is basically when we apply the standards of today to the time of the past, or when we apply ideas that are modern.
So you're saying
to things in the past.
Those ideas should have been gatekept?
So think about the people that existed in this era. Now, these were some savage motherfuckers.
Right. They weren't. This isn't like dudes podcasting on a mic.
These were not people that if you would have given them the Constitution of the United States,
they would have followed.
The country would have survived.
Oh.
No, it would have descended into immediate chaos.
Okay.
People were just barely getting used to the idea of civilization at this point.
How long ago was this?
Relatively speaking.
Like specifically.
How long ago was what?
Like during the time of the mysteries and stuff.
Well, the mysteries can be, they're at least as far back as 250, 2,500 years old at least.
Okay. No, I was just asking because you said that these dudes were savages, so...
I'm just saying that, civilization has been changing rapidly as humans become used to being civilized generation after generation. And a group of barbarians and savages having tools that are used to fucking basically manipulate the entire planet
Yeah, they'll fuck shit up, right?
was not necessarily a good idea. Now, is it still wrong for them to gatekeep this? Because, yeah, who the fuck are you guys? You guys are animals and you guys kill each other at the top all the time, and you guys are brutal and savages as well.
Yeah.
But you're less brutal and savage than the crazy fucks that were there. The idea was like you don't want to.
But you overall agree that
I was saying
it probably should have been gate kept for human civilization.
I think it's possible that there were eras where it made sense to gatekeep it. I don't think the same holds up now.
Right.
Which is why you see institutions like Freemasonry.
But what are we even judging that off though? That question, like, because we don't even know what the info is, right?
Judging what?
Like the question, what I'm asking.
What are you asking?
Like I just asked you, the fucking. What are you laughing at, Jozz? Fucking. That shit just fucked me up.
I didn't know you had a question.
No, that I just asked you that about the fucking.
This always happens. Have you not noticed?
I have, yeah. I don't know.
Josh just fucking me up. Oh my god.
I'm fucking you up because I'm laughing?
It's all good. You just made me lose my point.
You said you had a question. I know, Josh.
No, but
I know.
I was referring to the question I had just asked you. I was trying to figure out what it was before Josh laughed and fucked up my train of thought.
Let me be the first to say.
It's just because I'm laughing?
Hold up, I could actually hear it right quick. We'll be right back. Hold up. Yeah, we're back. We listened to it. Yeah, so I was asking you, what are we judging that question off if we don't even know the information that the mysteries had?
You're saying why was it important to gatekeep the mysteries, or should it have been gatekept? Is what you're getting?
I mean, regardless, we wouldn't know because we don't know what the mysteries are.
That it was gatekept?
No, what they were like what they were telling people and like what they were like holding down.
We know some things about it, but we don't know any of the things that were supposed to be made a secret, like what the ceremony actually consisted of, what the process was. We know very little. We know some things, and anyone who divulged it was
murdered.
Sometimes.
Damn.
Epictetus, in one of his discourses, criticizes a guy for talking about the mysteries after he had come back from initiation.
Damn. He ratted.
And the guy had probably come from like the lesser mysteries. Yeah, according to Albert Pike, there were the greater and lesser mysteries. And so the lesser mysteries were the ones that everybody...
Was that like a test to just give to the people to see if they...
That was the initiation that everybody was allowed to participate in. Okay. That was the regular initiation of the mysteries.
Yeah.
And then there were the greater mysteries, and these were selective. Not many people were allowed to attend them.
Right.
And they were supposed to be an even greater version of the mysteries.
So,
right.
But what happens though? These guys are invited. Like, listen, guys. What? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was about to tell you what we know.
Oh, okay, go.
What we know is something like that. First of all, there were different mysteries.
Okay.
But again, they all had these commonalities. So, all right, we could start with like the mysteries of Eleusis.
Okay.
And so in that case, what they did was they symbolized the process of death and rebirth, which is again what the point is. You go through ego death, you come back after that.
So one of them, well, what people think or what they found, the evidence was that what you believe, that's what the whole...
They would use symbols of nature in order to represent this process of death and rebirth.
Symbols of nature?
Symbols of nature, right. So like...
Can you be real specific? What
symbols of nature, like, for example, the sun going up in the morning and then dying at night and then reawakening back in the morning. Symbols of transformation, like...
Is this something that these people weren't aware of?
It's not that they weren't aware of it. It's that they used it to symbolize other things. Let me give it to you in a way that seems more reasonable to the modern era. You know how Kendrick Lamar might have a double entendre.
Okay.
Right?
I got you.
Okay, there's various meanings in a double entendre. There's like the basic meaning, right? And then there's alternative ways of interpreting what's happening. Okay, well,
What is the purpose for them to be able to like interpret it in another perspective or something?
The thing is that if you're gonna take something that you can't directly express through words, then you have to use symbolisms that alter human consciousness through a narrative and through an experience that leads to that transformation. Well, ego death is 100% that powerful.
But these dudes are doing it through symbols of nature.
Well, what I mean by symbols of nature
They're not getting these people high.
The gods were symbols of nature, okay? You had fucking gods of water, you had gods of fucking fire, you had gods for all these basic elements that exist in nature.
Okay.
People have always symbolized this thing, and they have always made stories about it. So
Why was it so extraordinary though? I'm just asking because like
What do you mean extraordinary?
because it's like the mysteries, right? These people just they're fucking. You said they get ego deaf.
Well, that was the point was to have that occur.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is something that you said that would do. Most of the mysteries would do this? Would be
the mysteries did do this. I mean, of the various mystery schools that were there, they did this. Even in modern day recreations of like what people might call the descendants of the mysteries in Freemasonry, the character that you play in the first in the 3 degrees, Hiram Abiff, the guy that you are symbolizing in the ceremony, dies and comes back. Okay,
but that's metaphorically.
Metaphorically in the sense that you are not literally dying.
Right.
But the whole point is to produce an experience that
like
changes changes one's consciousness.
Right.
It's about transforming one's consciousness.
Okay.
To figure out what the fuck one actually is. So it's sort of like this idea that everybody who has not been initiated is blind and has absolutely no fucking idea who they are, what they are. And they need to have this experience, this shift. Right, it's like changing the angle of your consciousness, if you will.
And why were specific people picked?
No, for the lesser mysteries, everybody could attend.
But why were the bigger ones, whatever, the higher ones? Why were
greater mysteries?
The greater mysteries. Why was it specifically picked for certain people only?
So first of all societies in this era were extremely hierarchical.
The elitist.
And so this is perfectly normal.
Just biasness.
And they would
just
not
wanted
want
to pick
people to have access to like information like this because this could be used to completely manipulate everyone in society.
Yeah.
I mean, if you understand more about the human psyche than anybody else around you, you have enormous power.
Right.
And this transformation of the human psyche is what it was all about.
And what these things are ran by like how many people though? Like what is this? How is it specifically? Is there a hierarchy?
There were the priests who were there through the conduction of the ceremony, and they guided the initiates. And so, like I said, for example, in the mysteries, like you would go through this walkway. You were fasted, so you hadn't eaten anything.
Okay.
These people were fasting. They would go in through
some culture
through this area. Like fucking 20 miles or some shit like that, walking, being guided by the priest. And they would go through like different fucking areas through some woods. And by the time it reaches like nighttime sort of thing, things start to get real fucking creepy. And people report being extremely terrified. And then feeling like they had died. And then after that death, they are brought back. Given some sort of drink there as well.
Okay. And this is without no drugs.
And they were invited to be with everybody else that was now initiated.
Okay.
As their equal.
And this is what was without drugs.
Well, again, we don't know if it's without
specifically
drugs.
Or not. Right.
People did not fucking talk about it. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is what I know. This is what we know. And what we know about, like, the mysteries of Eleusis is that they would represent that process through...
the death of self.
Through changes of seasons. And so, like, you would have this creation myth that they developed.
Right.
Where one of the gods... that they have there, her mother ends up going to the underworld to try to save her. And this happens every single, year because, the process of seasonal change. I mean, if you look at fall, that's the season of death.
Season of death?
Well, yeah, this is where things die. I mean,
things are, okay, I see what you mean.
In nature. It happens all the fucking time. It happens every year.
So they would use that?
They would use these symbols as symbols of transformation.
Okay. I feel like I can't fathom this. Like, this is like...
Right.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just like not.
You're just too high.
No. I know what Ape's talking about. I mean like the idea that these guys were like.
Look, I know way more about like the experience produced from Freemasonry than I do about the mysteries of Eleusis, and so does anybody who studies both of them because of the fact that
I mean, there's more public info.
we
about
don't
the
know
Freemasons
shit
now.
about the mysteries of Eleusis except some of the shit I just told you.
Right. There's more public info.
I
about
told you
the
it was very
Freemasons.
secretive.
Right. I know.
And I wasn't fucking around when I
it's
said
called
that.
the mysteries for a reason, right?
You were not to talk about this shit.
Damn. Yeah, this is some like elitist type of.
No, but I mean, everybody
Even
was
though
initiated.
anybody could be in it, though.
Everybody was supposed to be initiated.
Yeah.
Unless you were like somebody that was just some fucking murderer and you weren't allowed to be initiated.
Right.
In that case, okay, fine, you can't be initiated, but you're like considered a piece of shit. I mean, you don't even get to make it. You don't get to survive death.
You don't think we'll ever be able to find more info about the mysteries?
I hope so, but it's not that likely.
Shit wasn't written down, right?
Again, no, this is not allowed.
Yeah, no.
You don't talk about this shit.
No.
The Egyptians had a big process of transformation that they symbolized in their work. The eye seeing eye is prominent in their shit.
Swag.
They had a process for surviving death. That was what the building of the pyramids was supposed to be about.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a process. Even their creation myth about how the world was made involves the death of one of these gods that was split into 9 parts and then recreated again with the penis missing for whatever reason.
It's more shit, but I didn't really.
420 base at third blunt.
Damn, Jozz.
I'm on my third blunt.
You're going fucking hard today.
I haven't even rolled up my second one.
I already smoked the second
Can't
one.
believe her fucking eyes are open. Jesus
For real,
Christ.
you look high as hell.
Do I?
Yes.
I mean, you look
But I'm not wearing
Chinese,
my
but
glasses either. You're used to me wearing my glasses.
Nah, Joss looks pretty high.
Hi.
Hell yeah.
My eyes are red.
your eyes aren't really red. No.
That's what I thought.
Dude, I seen that a post on Twitter of some funny ass like meme about some guy commenting about like what is that called? The Bible, a scripture. What is it called? When it's like a quote from the Bible.
A verse?
A verse. There we go. I'm sorry.
He's high.
He said a verse, and I think it's called
Yeah.
Leviticus 20:13 ESV.
Oh, yeah.
And the great Lord says, "A man who lays with another man should be stoned."
Okay, let me look at the original from the King James Bible because he said ESV.
Oh, that's what it says there.
Yeah, but that's a different translation of the Bible.
Don't matter.
Wait, no,
It's still the Bible.
wait, I want to read the other one just to see.
You think it's gonna be different?
It is going to be different. What is the Leviticus what?
Leviticus 20:13.
2013. Damn.
Ape just smelled
13.
some weed.
It's on fire weed.
If a man also lieth with mankind, as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them.
God damn.
Yeah, what I mean,
Homie said fuck LGB.
what it says is if you're a man and you fuck a man the same way that you fuck a woman,
You're getting stoned to death?
that is a fucking abomination, is what it says. And you are going to be put to death. And, you know, your blood, the fact that you're going to be put to death is your fault.
Anyway, that one isn't funny though. This one's funnier.
Okay.
This one's the road. A man who lays with another man should be stoned. First of all, off top, God is assuming that when us humans get stoned, we get a little gay.
What?
No.
Yeah, because
First
you
of all,
interpreted it wrong.
Don't ever make eye contact with me when you say some shit like that, all right?
I remember your interpretation. You said God likes gay stoners, but I think it's
I
not.
thought it was funnier. I knew the original, bro.
No, I think it is funny. I think God likes gay stoners, but I think in general, it's not even about being a gay stoner. It's just like when you get high, you just become gay. That's when you should actually. I think that's what God was trying to get at right there.
What the fuck?
Yeah, if you want to lay with another man, you should be stoned.
You should be high if you're gonna do some gay shit.
Yeah, That's literally word for word what
It
it
makes
was.
sense, right? It'll help you feel less pain as your asshole is being shredded to pieces.
Yeah, that might be it.
Yeah.
He was giving advice,
Nice.
like health advice.
All this time we misunderstood it. We really thought like stone the gay dudes.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, maybe he's saying like don't. So damn, you can't do it sober. Like, you can't be gay and sober.
It's you're definitely going to hell if you're
being
doing
gay
gay shit and you're sober.
Yeah.
I think what God is trying to say is you got to have a good alibi.
You know what I mean? Like,
You
at
gotta
least
say,
be high,
I was
motherfucker.
really high that day. It didn't. I thought it was. You know, he looked kind of feminine that day. I had no idea. I thought it was his sister.
Is a God a fan of pushing it to the limit?
Well, seems like it.
Fucking crazy.
Seems like it.
Is that what he was really getting at?
It sounds like that's his vibe, if you will.
You know, Thailand, weed is legal there.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Just happens to be, you know.
what a combination, huh?
You know. That's interesting.
Well, you're a stoner.
I am.
Thailand weed is legal. Only makes it's perfect sense. Doesn't
Yeah. Yeah. No, me and Joss are trying to go on a trip. You should come.
it? You guys are going to Thailand?
Well, we haven't picked exactly where, but yeah, we should do a cool trip to Thailand. That'll be dope.
Well, it doesn't have to be Thailand.
Well, it doesn't have to be Thailand, but I mean, I'm just potting right
I mean,
now.
the
But
fact that you're insisting on Thailand is
it's actually
He just wants a bromance with you, bro.
well, no, that's not. I could never accept that idea.
I don't think that would be the case.
I
Joss.
don't believe. I cannot believe that.
You can't. Come on, Joss. What are you trying to do?
What do you mean?
What are you trying to do right now?
I
huh?
know what Jaws is trying to do.
What am I trying to do?
She's
Yeah.
trying to do that.
Yeah, bro.
She's trying to do it.
What am I doing?
The shit she's done with, you know what I mean? Her past dudes. She's trying to. Nah, Joss, not over here.
She's trying to have two. Look how she raises her arms.
Not on that
She's trying to
VNA
have
shit.
two
We don't-
fucking fists
Yeah,
up
bro.
two men's asses. Look how she's pointing and shit. Jesus Christ.
What are you trying to do, Joss?
Fucking animalistic behavior. Jesus, Joss.
You
It'd
trying?
be like that sometimes.
You trying to outman us?
I'll man you?
Yeah.
She's trying to unman you is what she's trying to
Yeah,
do.
that's exactly what it is.
I would say that's a form of outmanning, but sure.
I can't.
That's hilarious.
But
Great 420
so
thoughts.
if a man lie with another man, he should be stoned.
Be stoned. That's it.
Right.
God says, yo, push it to the limit. Grab that blunt first.
Yeah.
I think we solved it right there.
I think that makes, that explains so much in human history.
Right?
That what God wants,
No, go, keep going.
what God wants
I'm using your shirt.
is for you to push it to the limit as much as possible, but only when you're high.
Damn.
So if you're sober, this is a problem. Okay? Now what you want to do
God
to
forbid
make sure
you can't smoke weed, bro.
No. If you get into heaven, you smoked weed.
Now we're talking.
If you get into heaven, you smoked weed. And you
What happened if you get high but just don't engage in,
if you get high and don't engage in what?
in gay acts, you're just a straight
No,
man.
I said if you get high, you get to heaven. I didn't say if you get high and do gay shit, you get to heaven.
Oh, okay.
How the fuck could it be heaven? It's just a bunch of gay. It's a cock fest when you get there?
I hope not.
How is that? That is hell.
I'll cry.
You'll cry.
Look.
What? You wouldn't?
That is a punishment.
That's a punishment.
That is a punishment.
What?
If I was the only girl and there was a cockfest, I would be down.
I would
See,
love.
but let's pay close attention to the verse. Like good theologians, right?
Okay.
What it says is if a man lieth with a man, he should be stoned. It doesn't say anything about women. So it's not talking lesbians. There's no guidance here for lesbians.
For real, you guys are fucked.
There's no
Straight
recommendations.
to hell, to Lucifer's chamber.
Hell yeah, I'm already there.
God damn.
Okay.
We're talking about there's no recommendations, no guidance, no advice. We don't even know if it's cool or not.
I think it's gonna be cool.
We don't know what God's opinion on the matter is.
I mean, Biggie said it best. When I die, fuck it, I wanna go to hell. Cause I'm a piece of shit, it ain't hard to fucking tell. Don't make sense going to heaven with the goody goodies. Dressed in white, I like black Tims and black hoodies. God will probably have me on some real strict
We know
shit.
the fucking song. Jesus.
No
fuck.
sleeping all day. No getting my dick licked.
He just wanted to
Damn, not getting your dick licked in heaven is crazy, bro.
It's a
Right though?
First of all, we're gonna get copyrighted.
Not getting your dick licked in heaven is crazy.
Well, I mean, what would make it heaven if you weren't
you
getting your
can't.
dick licked? You know, what I think that heaven is described as being so close to God, and you know, the thing about God is that.
What happened if sorry to interrupt you. What happened if everybody's heaven is just their view of heaven?
I mean,
That would be great.
That'd be kind of fruity, right? If it's your version, you really think your version of what you think is good is as good as
What God thinks?
how good it could be? What I was gonna say is that heaven, you know, if we're talking about Biggie's verse, he's talking about getting your dick licked, right? I mean, this is you go to heaven, that's like getting your soul licked, right?
Yeah.
You're getting spiritual head.
Eternal,
Alright, so have you been soul tied? Do
eternal pleasure.
you know what soul tied is?
No, is that
Some astrology shit.
No.
what? Go ahead, Josh.
Google it.
Is that where you guys like? Is that where your consciousness is? Fuck.
No,
Yeah.
like you feel soul tied to someone.
You guys fuck through astral projection.
You have a spiritual connection to another person.
Correct, and your soul.
Damn, I'm pretty cold, yo. Should've got my sweater.
Nice.
Yo, Josh, can you get my sweater
Where's your sweater?
in my car?
Yeah, I'll do that for favor for you.
Fucking animal.
You see, I'm doing that for you.
We gotta make the woman do the things on this earth.
Now you just said that, now I'm not doing shit.
I was just playing. It's just potting.
Come back
on.
from that. Just tell her you're a feminist
I am a feminist,
and
bro.
you're non-binary.
I actually am.
Talk about that shit though.
I am non-binary.
Tell her that wasn't enough. You got to tell her you got to be trans now.
You gotta roll this for me now.
I can't roll up a blunt.
But I already told you.
can.
If
Oh,
the-
look, here's my keys.
If the pod doesn't blow up in time, we already got to stick to Plan B. And I'm not talking about the fucking
Make sure it's locked.
pharmaceutical.
Yes, I'm not you. Roll it.
Okay.
What I'm talking about,
Where's your jacket?
It's in the car. You'll see it.
V, you're gonna have to get breast implants if this doesn't work out the way that we originally thought, right?
Yeah.
And we've discussed this in the past. You will, since you're a skinny dude,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to pull up with the double D's.
I gotta be the.
All right, you're walking out there with tumors in front of you.
The petite, double-breasted.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, like a fucking 4 for your body weight is gonna be silicone tits.
Damn.
Okay.
I'm gonna have some back issues.
So yes, you are, but
Dude, I
you're
gotta take a piss.
but you're taking one for the team.
Guys, we'll be back. We gotta talk about Bukele and Trump, dog.
Well, I mean, I know they're
Bukele pulled up to the White House.
Yeah, I understand that they enjoy French kissing each other from time to time.
Yeah, I didn't fuck with my man Donald kissing Bukele's ass a little bit too much. I don't know. It seemed a little odd. They were like, I don't know if I trust Bukele, but
I definitely don't trust him.
But this is something he said, though. He was like, sometimes they say we imprisoned thousands. I like to say we actually liberated millions.
That's just semantics.
But that was his, like, argument to, like, what everybody would say about... But forget that. Like, I mean, I can't fuck with the idea of, like, taking off due process. I don't fuck with that.
No, I mean,
I don't respect that.
the only thing I understand
That's very dictator
is
vibes.
that if a country is in a state of war,
I mean, you would technically agree, though, because you are a trolley man, and you agree with saving the other people.
oh yeah.
So
no,
you,
no,
so
but,
you would,
but, but
so
wait
you
a
would,
second.
so you
no,
would
no, you gotta
justify-
stop. Because the problem with what you're saying right now is that you're framing what I said as though it were something that I would actually engage in.
Then why you
And-
pick
and-
it?
Because I told you it's a better consequence. That doesn't imply that I think I should do it.
Yeah, but we had the. Well, I mean,
Do you remember what I said? That was my argument. My argument is it's better if more people live than if fewer people live. That was what I said. Now, saying that that's better, that doesn't mean that I believe that I should push the fucking thing and kill less people or whatever the fuck the outcome is.
well, do you think Bukele was justified in doing that then?
I mean, what he did is an entire process. So one of the things that he did was to get rid of the whole, the due process system, which I don't even know if it existed back then before he came up. But
I think it did.
I'm not sure.
I mean, there's like protests that be going on about people that were innocently taken away.
Of course,
and
because but that's because you arrested a shitload of people, right? I mean, it could have still been the case that this was happening before, but it wasn't happening on a grand scale, so you didn't see enormous protests.
I could say.
So
I would have. Okay, yeah, sure.
So I don't know if due process was going on to any significant degree.
Then I don't understand what the hype would be about then. Then why everybody's saying that he took
the
it
hype
out.
would be that this guy is now associated with the West, and if we're part of the West, then we got to have a Western political ethic, and that political ethic is going to include due process. And if that's not part of what you're including, then this is a fucking problem. Now I think that the problem is you can't sentence that many people to a fucking trial that's speedy.
It's going to take
any time.
extremely long.
Right. So you would actually have to find people guilty, and guilty in a genuine sense. So you could have been a kid that had nothing to do with the gang, and you were some fucking Fugazi imitator, and you got an MS-13 tattoo.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And you could have never gangbanged in your life. Does that justify a lifetime prison sentence?
Definitely not.
And is that the only way to ensure that your country doesn't return to being the insane madhouse that it used to be?
The murder capital.
I can understand the temporary arrest. I can't understand if there's going to be a permanent lifetime sentence on the basis of very little justification.
Then, that's if you let the government do a little bit, they'll just.
But I don't know if that's what he aims to do.
I mean,
I know you arrested all of these fucking people, and the crime rate is much lower as a result because you took all.
People
of
say that they haven't been able to talk to any. That the
lack of transparency in the criminal justice system over there is non-existent in those prisons, the ones that are guarding the MS-13 people.
Yeah, they say it's fucking insane.
Right.
That it's wild. Like they're just doing all type of shit. That's what I'm just hearing. But I don't know. He's given dictator. I mean, he did say he's the coolest dictator ever.
Yeah, that was trolling, obviously. But in terms
I think
of
it was very tongue in cheek. I think he meant it in a way though too. So I don't know. Like I said, now he might just be able to do things.
Yeah.
Because he take away things from the Constitution in order for like his convenience, so for the government, whatever. I mean, he did it once already, so that's pretty dangerous. And just the idea of trying to bring like, I can't believe Trump was actually fucking with this dog. That he's trying to bring actual citizens to El Salvador.
The Supreme Court needs to stomp his ass on that.
Like I can't believe
you're not going to be extraditing American citizens.
That's insane, bro. I get it, but it's like, dog, we're not doing that.
Yeah, that's not something
with.
that we're cool. No.
And I mean, you did hear about the case about the kid or the guy, the man they deported by accidentally.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was an accident.
The whole thing was that like,
as far as I know, he did have an actual criminal
MS-13 tattoo.
Yeah, and an actual criminal record.
Yeah, but apparently like
and he's not a citizen.
I heard he was.
He's not.
No, I heard he was, and then once...
No, he's a citizen of El Salvador, not of the United States.
No, he's not?
No.
Okay. Yeah, once I guess Trump claimed MS-13 as a terrorist group, anybody that was like, had any like affiliation, any type of thing with it, they were like, yeah, we're deporting them all out, so I guess...
Yeah, but U.S. citizenship is not something that you want to extradite to punish crimes from the U.S.
Hell no, never.
Now, you can if somebody is also a citizen of El Salvador, and they committed crimes there, and they came over here in the U.S. and became citizens without ever facing a penalty in their own home country. The U.S. could extradite those people because they have a dual citizenship. So it's like if you were somebody in England and you killed 13 people and you came to the United States and you became a citizen here, the United States could extradite you back to England so that you could go to an English prison for having murdered 13 people there.
I mean, yeah, they could do that.
It's the same thing with El Salvador.
Okay. I mean, I agree with that for the most part.
Now, if you were somebody that's an MS-13 member, you were born here in the United States, you don't have any citizenship in El Salvador, and you didn't kill anybody there, you didn't do any crimes there, there's no justification for extraditing you.
Yeah, I think regardless of the crime, they shouldn't be extradited. So.
Well, if you're a citizen of that country,
Other than that-
or if you did crimes in another country and you just run away to the United States, I don't think it's wrong to extradite somebody that did something that's actually...
Even if they were a citizen here first?
Even if you're a citizen here, if you go to
What
another...
happened if you're not a citizen of the other country?
But if you
But
go
you did
there and
crimes over there.
go there and you do crimes, you don't get to just escape the justice system because you do some illegal shit and you
Right.
run away. That would mean that every tourist could go. Every serial killer would become a fucking tourist.
Yeah. Kill in other countries and just
It
bribe.
would become a luxury. Oh man, I killed 18 people in my past vacation. You know, it was tremendous. That's not a good policy.
Right. No, I agree.
So you should be able to get people to, you know, pay the penalty for the crimes and in the countries that they commit those crimes.
Yeah. I just think it justifies injustice, what Bukele does. So it's like, if you could let him do it too much.
I think his system is definitely not it's not enhancing freedom.
No, at all. It's not.
But the problem is that like the other system was also eliminating freedom. And so now it's not even about whether his thing is right. It's whether or not you would you be okay with just arbitrarily just being able to release a shitload of people that are likely to be MS-13 gang members back into the streets where they had dominated the political system?
What do you mean likely though? What happened? Isn't that the point of due process? To find out if
you tried to do due process, right? And you were to just say, well, you have that tattoo, but that doesn't mean you killed anybody or anything.
Right.
What you could do is you could just make a law where like anybody who's an official member, you know, you can fucking sentence them to that shit.
Yeah. Because that's kind of crazy, dog.
What
it wouldn't be okay if someone got a tattoo of it but did no crimes.
Well, I'm saying that if you wanted to get rid of it, you because his idea is like he doesn't care if you did any crimes. He cares if you're a member of MS-13. Because if you're a member of MS-13, you're saying, oh, I'm applying for the armed services of terrorism in El Salvador. I'm accepting an application to be a murderer.
Yeah.
Okay? That's what I'm doing. And so if you're a terrorist, that's like saying, you know, ISIS members, I mean, should we really arrest all of them?
Yeah, but that's a little more...
Should we decide, well, is this...
Comparing ISIS to MS-13, you think that's a comparable...
I think it's comparable in that they're both terrorist groups, yeah.
Okay, when does it stop for you then?
When does what stop?
Like, what's considered like what is it, a gang, I guess, or a fucking organization? At what level are you like, are you doing this to gang members? If someone's a Crip, if someone's a Blood?
Well, again, I'm mentioning this in El Salvador because it's in a state of war because of the gang problem that it had. The U.S. is not in a state of war due to the Bloods and Crips.
Okay.
They have their own war.
Sure.
Between each other and themselves.
Okay. What happened if someone was just born into it?
So if the United States was like El Salvador, I know I'm cutting you off, but this is important.
Go.
If the United States was like El Salvador, and our system was so fucking corrupt that it was meaningless and mass murder was happening all over the place, the way that it was there, and it was the murder capital of the world, then yeah, in a state of war, you take tactics that are
unconstitutional.
They are unconstitutional because there's no constitution that you have. You don't have any order in the country. You don't have a rule of law.
You don't think it's possible
to do it, to just imply that shit? No, that's not gonna fucking work. Are you kidding me?
Okay, so you think
the other side doesn't care about the Constitution, and they have their hands in all the politicians. You're not gonna be able to play this game where you just show up and you say, "Let's just follow the rules." No one's gonna follow the rules. Everyone's corrupt up there. You can't win that way. It doesn't work. Okay, they were look, the people in charge, fucking mass murders are being sponsored or supporting of it, either beneath the curtains, or through just explicit corruption. You have to fight that.
I'm not saying you don't.
Okay, but you can't fight it using some basic bitch maneuver where you say, "Oh, let's just take it to the courts." The judge is on the side of MS-13. You're not gonna win.
I mean, I agree with
Do
you.
you understand?
I agree with you overall.
You
what
can't
you're
apply
saying.
that tactic.
I agree with you.
You can't
but-
also use the rules of the way that the United States is. You have two different conditions. One where the rule of law exists, and another place where it's completely corrupt and non-existent. Okay? Should you take an extreme tactic like that to get rid of that? Yeah, that's a justifiable offense.
So you think if the U.S. went through some shit like that, you think it's okay for the government to take control of everything and just start fucking...
Yeah, if the
doing what they gotta
alternative,
do.
if the alternative is a fucking, MS-13 run homeland, yeah, that's a better alternative
That's a better alternative?
than a fucking terrorist state. Yeah, at least from there you can start with some structure and actually do something with it.
I mean, yeah, I guess. That's why I said it's kind of similar to the trolley answer, no?
Why?
Because it's worth saving. It's worth killing.
No, this is a comparison of possible alternatives. So if you go about the basic approach, it's not going to work. I already mentioned that.
Okay.
If you go through this approach of like, let's go to the courts and shit, and we'll fight it out through there and due process and shit, it's not going to work.
The trolley
And what-
one is different though because you have an option. This one was like an actual war that was going on, so it's either save the country, I guess, quotations, and fucking do unconstitutional things to like a bunch of people. I don't know how much people they arrested, but I know it was fucking. I'm sure a bunch of them don't deserve to be there.
Yeah.
So they should just suffer for however long it has been already so far.
I don't agree that they should suffer.
But that's what has to happen.
I don't agree.
That's what has to
I don't
happen in
agree
order
that
to
that
save
should
the country.
happen. I'm just saying that this is better.
How can you prove that that's better?
Because
there's other options.
Because it was the fucking murder capital of the world, and not being the murder capital of the world is better than being the murder capital of the world.
Well, that's an issue on the government. They had to work on something.
What do you mean work?
Like I'm saying,
The government was corrupt as shit. How the fuck are they supposed to work on anything?
when Bukele took over, it wasn't corrupt, right?
Yes, it was.
It was still corrupt.
Yes, it was. It was corrupt as fuck.
El Salvador was always corrupt.
Yes.
Okay, what the MS-13 was in pockets.
They
with all
had their
politicians?
pockets with politicians and shit, bro. It was not that easy. And fucking politicians were scared
Right,
of MS-13.
right.
Okay?
Listen, I agree that like
I mean, when you propose this idea of like a victimless war,
yeah,
which is essentially what we're saying, oh no, there's innocent people locked up. Yeah, it's a war. People die.
right.
Okay? There's no outcome that's victimless in a fucking war. The U.S. is not in a state of war in the sense that El Salvador was, so I don't justify any actions of locking up the Bloods and Crips
Right,
for simply being in a gang,
right.
because that extreme tactic is not warranted.
Yep.
Yo, sorry, good.
Where the
worries,
fat bitches at, though? You got fat bitches or
Yeah, I already fucked them all.
the fat hoes? Goddamn, my man likes it BBW.
I like all type of hoes.
I respect that, bro.
go.
Hell yeah.
5 feet tall, 400 pounds.
Discriminate, dog.
You already know, bro. Fucking them bitches in the Walmart
My dad told me-
wheelchairs.
You know what my dad told me? El que come bueno y come malo, come doble.
Yo.
Now he's talking. Hell of a quote right there.
That was wisdom.
Word. Kev said he's on the way, man.
Kev is based. You know?
I gotta delete some. Dude, I gotta take another.
Did you
piss.
pause that? Because that
Yeah, I'm gonna pause it.
we're-
Well,
This is a hilarious thing. I saw this guy who claimed to be a healer.
Who?
And I don't know the fucking guy's name, but he claimed to be a healer. And there's like this video of him on YouTube where he gets like some 98-year-old lady or some shit, and he has like he has a board, and on the board he has like a paper, like a sheet where he has like a bunch of shit, and he's like, all right, I see that you have pain from this and this condition. So, you know, usually what I ask people to do is to think of the top 2 or 3 problems that they're dealing with before we start, and to just focus on those as we go along. And then he gets her on like this fucking table or some shit.
Okay.
And he measures like her the length of like how long her legs are, one compared to the other. And he says, yeah, this one's like 1/32 of an inch longer than the other one. Right? He just makes some shit up like that.
Just bringing up statements like, okay.
Yeah,
thanks.
and then he does this bullshit where he has like the pen and the pad shit there, and he just fucking goes off, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna gather some information now, and he just moves his hand like this for 2 seconds, and he writes some shit down on his board.
Would you be down to go to do some shit like that?
I'd find it hilarious.
No, you wouldn't. When they start bringing up some shit that you actually are connected to, you're gonna start shitting your pants.
No, because they do that all the time, and it's very deceptive. It's the way that they work. Like, if you have ever seen like the people that do readings and shit like that,
I've had people.
The way they do it, like they start asking you these questions so that they can narrow shit down.
Nah, some don't ask questions, bro.
And you've seen one that just pulls up and tells you your social security number.
I've heard people have done this before, and they say that they weren't asked questions, and they just start bringing up things that
You're saying that you know people that claim this.
Yes.
I mean, I don't give a fuck if you know people that claim that. That's
I'm saying if that were to happen to you, you'd be a little freaked out.
Well, I would start questioning where this person got their information.
That would you'd be Logic Man, right?
I'd be like, well,
oh my God, let me lay the facts out. Let me see. You just wouldn't be like, no, this.
Oh, clearly you've read my porn history is what's going on here.
This woman doesn't lack any spiritual whatever heebie-jeebie. You'd just be like, no, I gotta see. You really think like that, bro?
Do you think I would just automatically accept that shit?
But you wouldn't give it any type of like.
I would analyze it. I wouldn't just say off the bat, oh no, this is bullshit, and I gotta figure out why it's bullshit. I would try to figure out what the fuck is going on.
I mean, if you
but I'm not automatically gonna just jump to this idea of, you
analyze it. Let's say you analyze it for weeks and weeks, and you can't find no answer to justify how she figured out some things about you.
Oh, then I don't know.
You don't know. You just leave it like that. You don't give it any.
I would need to have some like sort of. I would need to have some sort of thing that
would that not be proving that she has some type of ability?
No.
Okay.
How does that prove it?
When does it prove it then?
Like you're the way that you phrase this is
let's say she does it to a lot of people.
Yeah, but let's make this a little bit.
Would that change anything?
No, but I want to go back to something that you said, because you said that what if you can't find another explanation, right? Which is a totally bizarre way to go about this. If you don't find an explanation, you don't just automatically presume this bitch is a fucking clarivident, she's a goddamn mystic. She knows that. If you don't have an answer, you don't say it must be this made up answer. You should just say I don't have an answer.
But there's no other logical answer for it.
Who says there isn't?
I'm saying hypothetically there isn't. There is no way this woman could have known. Let's just say she named things that exactly correlate to, like, I don't know, your life.
How so? Give me an example, bro. Make it concrete.
She says something that's pretty not. Let's say she says one of your parents' names or your brother's names off the top.
Bro, you can find that shit on fucking Google if you know something about me.
But you're assuming that this person knows you're gonna walk into her spot and
she might.
Come on, Abe. That's not. How would she know that?
Listen, you can't look at me and be like, come on, bro, when your side is on the side of this bitch has a connection to some spiritual shit on the other side.
My argument is not even that she's like some type of mystic that's like it's a fact that she's a mystic. I'm just saying, do you have, like, you don't even lay any thought like, damn, maybe there might be.
But do you see, you have to, you're relying on the absence of evidence.
I'm just saying that this experience has happened to many people.
You're saying, I don't know, and this is interesting, and therefore the mystic conclusion is reasonable now.
Abe, if you walk into
that makes no fucking sense. There's no evidence for that, bro.
So if you walk into a room, to a person you never met, which 100% they probably never met you either, yet can name things in your life that hold some type of value, which is not like just some, like, let's say she says a name of a family member, then she says something, I don't know, about you do in your job. Something about the podcast, just little things, let's just say.
Yeah, at that point, you have to ask yourself very easily just, what is more likely? Is it more likely that this bitch knows some information through some other realm, or that this bitch has Google? Oh my God. What makes more sense?
How would she even have your name?
What is more?
Google, that's not even a good answer. That's not.
Why isn't that a good answer?
Because your information and things like that are not on Google, Abe.
You can find people's information. I'm not going to talk about myself.
I'm not negating that you can't.
I can find your fucking address through your name on Google. Don't give me that
100%.
bullshit. I can find out your father's name on Google.
I'm not.
Okay.
Okay. What happened if it's things that are not searchable? Do we gotta put it like that?
Oh, sure. You can put it like that.
All right. What about that?
Is it things that other people couldn't have known about me?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. That you personally know that someone else cannot know.
Nobody knows it.
Yes.
Except for me.
Except for you.
So it's like a thought that I had by myself.
Could be that. Could be another thing
Okay.
that's like extremely close to you.
A thought
That's
that I had by myself, and then this person didn't ask any questions, and they just told me.
Let's say it was multiple things though.
But what is is the question here? Oh, are you thinking now? What would it take for you to accept that this is a mystic? Right, that this is a mystic that's actually connecting to something.
Yeah.
I would tell you that the way for me to accept that is through evidence for that. And what you're presenting me with
That's not
is,
something that you
oh,
could. That's not something you could do an experiment on, Abe.
I don't need an experiment. I just need there to be some source where I can confirm.
What does it? What needs to confirm it? That it has to happen multiple times.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get you to tell me.
Okay, no,
Because
I'm
you're asking me to come to some sort of conclusion. You're asking me, oh, how do I demonstrate that it's some mystical shit? I don't even know what some mystical shit is.
Well, what demonstrates you to believe in it then?
Well, you have to give me evidence for it.
Does it have to be done plenty of times? What's the criteria?
Well, I mean, if you want to, there's a difference between that this person in this case actually knows something about me because of some, connection to some spiritual mojo or whatever. And the idea that this spiritual mojo exists and that el nombre del Padre, el Hijo y el Espíritu francés. Fucking, there's a complete difference between this individual just knowing some shit about me because there's other systems and, other dimensions and shit, and me knowing personally from this person.
Even though that person has no type of knowledge on you.
Yeah, I don't know what the question is though.
I'm just saying that this is something that's happened to people. People have gone to these
Well, people claim a lot of shit.
Why would people
People
lie?
have mystical experiences. People have situations where you come up and things.
So life is subjective now. Everything that people, this person, okay, that's not true.
Well, individual experience is subjective.
Yeah, sure.
I don't understand
But
what
somebody being there as well and experiencing the same thing as you, like we're in the same.
Claiming they experienced that. Claiming that that's what they experienced.
If this person,
because I know people get defensive sometimes with shit like that. There's been cases where you ask people 8 fucking questions before they started getting a so-called reading, and then all they remember is, oh yeah, I just went and he remembered.
We already solved that by saying hypothetically the person.
Yeah, but what is the point of the hypothetical? You're presenting me with a different world, and all you're doing is gradually eliminating the restrictions.
You're saying that's not possible?
I'm trying to ask you, what is the evidence?
Well, let me ask you that. Are you saying that's not possible?
What isn't?
That someone could do that.
Do what?
What I'm trying to tell you. Like they could just they happen to just know these things about you that all they say things that correlate to your life.
I can't claim it's not possible. I can just tell you that I highly doubt it.
But how could it not be possible if
I didn't say it's not possible. I said I highly doubt it. I don't know how you can claim that it is possible. You can try to demonstrate that if you want. Good luck. Claim that it is possible. Go ahead. Defend that fucking thesis.
Well, in just real life in general, if we do end up going...
Because I don't give a fuck about hearsay. That's all you're giving me. You're telling me other people have told me...
Let's say we go ourselves. Fuck hypotheticals. We experience it ourselves. We go to one of these things. The person doesn't ask no questions. Starts just throwing buzzwords that...
Right.
Not even buzzwords. Just say specific words that...
You know what a good example is?
Go for it.
To compare to this, there was this church that caught fire a while back ago. They would go on. They were on TV. It was like a church, and they would do these readings where they were saying, "Oh, this guy was filled with the Holy Spirit or some shit." The pastor, and he would start talking to people about their lives and shit, and people would claim to have like all these incredible experiences, like Teresa in the audience. I know your mother has breast cancer. And I'm going to pray because the Lord is telling me right now that she will defeat that breast cancer, right? And they would just do a whole prayer. And of course, the problem is to them, they would be thinking like, oh, the pastor really did do this. But what they didn't know was, first of all, he had a mic connected to him. He used that mic so that he would be guided by his wife, who was had gathered the information on these people, and then would fucking show it. So for you to sit here and try to fucking pretend like that's not a possibility, that's some bullshit.
That's not even a good example though. You're just giving me an example of an event where a pastor tried to scam some people.
What do you mean tried? This was
He did.
He did for years on national television.
How does that compare to our situation though? I'm saying that
that's 100% comparable.
No.
He's going up to people that he doesn't know, and without asking any question, he's saying, your name is this, your mother suffers from such and such. That's exactly what you told me.
That is not exactly the same.
What is the difference?
The fucking person that's the mystic, aka the quote, the mystic, doesn't have a fucking earpiece where someone's giving them information.
You don't need an earpiece to get the information. Do you understand?
You're presupposing that this lady or person, whoever, has
this is such a stupid argument.
Has researched every single person that before they came in and shit. Like, that's impossible. That's not even logical.
What do you mean? I just gave you a case where they did research every single person.
Hey, let me put this to you really simple.
You're getting to the point of the spiritual shit, and I'm illogical.
Hold up, let me put this to you really simple. If me and you right now go to a random spot right now where there's a mystic that's about to tell us things that she knows about us and XYZ, does she know all of our information already?
I don't know.
What's stopping you from not knowing?
The fact that I don't know what the fuck she knows or doesn't know about me. If I go up to her and ask for some fucking mystic shit.
Right. And okay, so your thing is that the mystics, you think that they have this information already for all the people that they're seeing already? Is that what you're claiming?
No, I'm not claiming that. I'm claiming that there's a lot of ways to deceive people, and
there is
the idea that I should, at some point, because I don't know how the person did it, assume or become somewhat open to the idea that it was some spiritual shit is bullshit. It just speaks to the fact that if you can't come up with the ways that you've been deceived, that you should just automatically go with it was some spiritual shit. Think about it like in terms of like Penn and Teller, for example, right?
What did you say right now, though?
I was going to tell you exactly what I'm about to tell you now.
Okay, go.
You know how Penn and Teller, they do magic tricks?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. At no point, because they end up doing a magic trick and I don't know how they did it, should I assume that it's magic. Okay?
Yeah.
This is the same shit. Just because I don't know how something was done doesn't mean I should somehow just say, fuck it, magic.
I know, Ape. I know that sounds crazy.
Okay.
I know that sounds crazy. I'm just saying.
So then what fucking argument do you have here? Tell me.
Then what? So that's it? You just fuck it? You don't know? There's no chance that person could have been a mystic, right?
You're asking me to tell you what chance that... Is that what this is about? Tell you the chance that person was a mystic? Why are you dressed like a Jehovah's Witness? What the fuck?
What's up, Kev?
Fuck out of here.
Saturday.
Fuck you doing at church, Kev?
San Joyitas.
San
St. Jude.
Oh, Jesus.
Swag. But listen, fucking... I'm not saying that you're gonna say that that's a mystic, but you just give it like no type of like...
I have no prior evidence before this situation that any of that shit is real.
Let's say hypothetically that happens to you multiple times.
Yeah, it could happen to me multiple times.
Even then, you wouldn't even be like, oh no, there's no possibility.
You're just asking me about what I would think if that happened.
Yeah, that's what I care.
I don't fucking know. Why would you ask me some shit like that?
All right, let's say you had to take magnesium to see God and shit.
That's the point of a hypothetical.
That's the point. What I would tell you is I would think, based on reason, that it's unlikely that that's the case. That's my answer to you. I don't know why you keep saying some bullshit like, come on, Ape. I'm giving you the answer. I've given it to you multiple times.
Okay, sure.
I don't know why you keep pushing the question after the answer's been given. I already told you. I would think that it's unlikely that this is due to some spiritual shit.
Okay. Kev, have you ever gone to like a person that like I guess could read your cards or like
Kev,
your future,
Kev,
things like that. That
when
type
are you
of
gonna
person.
give me one of your packets, your Jehovah's Witness?
You asked for it, bro.
And question number
That's
2.
not how Jehovah's Witness work, bro. They
Jehovah's Witness, nigga.
they bother you. You don't go up to them. They go up
I'm
to
like Lil
you.
Dicky. Like, do you fuck with Jesus?
You're right.
fuck with the
You
wall?
are kind of more like a Mormon right now, to be honest with you.
Question number 2.
Can I have one?
Would you go to a fortune teller or like one of those like mystic ball ladies that could read your...
So when it comes to that shit, I feel like, okay, there's some truth to it, but not because it's a mystic. It's because the vibes.
There we go. That's what we needed.
Again with this fucking vibe shit.
It's the vibes.
Like,
You know the vibes.
Well, Josh, we already know, what your favorite porn categories are,
Yep.
Hold up, let me
But we
put-
don't know how freaky it really gets.
Now
Yes, you do.
subsections. Is that what it
You
is?
already know what goes on.
Wait, what goes on?
But you already know. You remember my.
We
three
talked about
categories?
this, bro. She has fantasies.
I know she has fantasies.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm just trying to figure out if she has realities.
I have realities.
Bro, this guy has balls.
She has fantasies and realities.
What are the realities, Josh?
But you know already.
No, I haven't been.
Fisting,
I know about the fisting.
butt plugs.
I know about the butt plugs. On him or you?
You decide.
I mean, I prefer on you than on him. I gotta be honest.
It could be both.
You guys got matching butt plugs, and
I mean, I have one with a heart. He can have whatever he wants.
I love that.
Nah, what I think Joss needs a man to really dominate her, like an animal.
I mean, I agree. I agree.
That's what I'm. Listen, that's my hypothesis.
Yeah.
That's what I'm like.
We're very logical.
I mean, I can't disagree
Real
with that.
cerebral man right here.
Just
you know
how
what I mean?
far though?
Turn off front to low.
How far?
How far does she want to be dominated? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I could be submissive.
But like to what level? Give us an
Safe
animal.
word.
Give us an animal of like level of intensity. Like obviously like
On a scale
I think
from-
it's like tied up, like fucking apple taped to her mouth. Fucking just aggressively pulling every single limb,
Yeah.
right? Just stretching her out in more ways than one. And just doing that consistently and just not holding back, not even saying a word, just doing it.
There you go.
I think that's pretty much it.
damn. You sound like a pro there, buddy.
I've worked at this.
Oh, he reads chakras.
You're right.
I read auras and shit too. I don't know if you know about that.
Okay.
Oh, I'll tell you the sign.
You're giving off like a pink and black sort of aura right now, you know?
What's Joss's aura?
Yeah, right now she's definitely giving up some green. A whole lot of green, actually.
And you know what green means?
I know what green means.
Cha-ching.
Hey. That's a dad joke. That's the uncle joke. If you will.
That's like
The uncle jokes you gotta be careful with.
that's like dirty uncle joke.
Because your uncle will sell you some shit.
Yeah.
Some
I love
fucking...
talking to old folks. They don't fuck around.
Some
They go straight
innocence
to the
ending
point.
shit, you know, like
Good
fucking...
morning, Mr. Johnson. Keep doing that, you're gonna get your ass fucked.
I had some fucked up conversations as a kid, bro. Like I remember one time when I was in school, I was like, we were talking about like how long people live and shit. My and this kid told me, he's like, yeah, bro, when you get to 100, you just have a heart attack and that's it.
Damn.
Hey, so this was like fucking
like game over.
first grade type shit. He was telling me like, yeah, bro, that's how it works.
He discovered.
I was like, no fucking way, bro. I thought we used to live forever until like a bus runs us over or some shit.
Some people don't even make it to 20.
And then he fucking pushed me even harder on that.
oh,
Because I
God.
ended up going home to dad. I was like, Dad, how long do people live? He's like, bro, on average, like 60 something. I was like, fuck, bro. That's
It's
almost,
even worse.
That's almost half what I fucking thought, bro. I
Yeah.
felt middle-aged at that moment, you know?
Yeah.
That was midlife.
You felt older already.
It was
actually.
midlife crisis.
Crisis at 3.
Yeah.
And then I fucking had nightmares about this shit, bro. Middle of the fucking night, I'd be there thinking like, God damn, bro. So that's how many minutes?
Left.
You know?
Yeah.
I just learned how to multiply. Let's figure this out.
What's PEMDAS? Like,
Fuck, bro. That's not much, you know, compared to infinity.
I And beyond.
Right.
and beyond.
Sideways.
I was fucked at that moment, right?
Had an
Because
existential
my pops
crisis.
just narrowed that shit the fuck down, and then I went and I talked. I went back to school
So glad my dad was cool.
and addressed this motherfucker like, "Hey, motherfucker, people do not live to be 100 and have a heart attack, motherfucker. That's some bullshit,
Right.
right?"
Fucking liar.
He was like, "Nah, bro, you're full of shit, bro.
We're supposed to live to 100, but we don't.
We live to 100, and then that happens, bro."
Then you restart.
But then you know what he did? Yo, he denied he ever said that.
Oh, that's the worst.
What a capper.
Already
At
at
3
this
years old,
age,
third
bro.
grade, bro.
That's what I'm saying, bro. This was like from kindergarten to third grade. One of those years.
At least I enjoyed
Weak
my
shit.
childhood.
I know
bro.
it wasn't kindergarten, but it was definitely from first to third grade, bro.
Like,
That's some
life-
low guy shit.
Yeah.
Just stay on that, bro.
I lost a lot of respect for him that day, though.
For like a lot of people in the collective. Like, fuck, there's a lot of people like that. Like, they being pathetic.
Josh, you ever have like an ADHD kid in class?
Yup.
Like the kid that would throw a tantrum in fucking second grade, and the teacher would like start like bitching at him, and the whole class turns against him and shit. Like, bro, she's trying to fucking teach. Just let her teach. You ever have that kid?
Nope.
I fucking love that kid. You know what it is? You're bored as fuck. There's 1 hour for you guys to leave, and this kid decides,
Entertainment.
fuck it. Pay-per-view. Live. UFC event. Bruce
pop
Buffer
my
narrating.
Skittles.
The
That
best
to me,
thing in life.
incredible. One of the
Best
best
thing.
experiences.
I'ma
I
sip
love
my
it.
juice.
I couldn't get enough of that, bro.
Hell yeah.
I
bro.
was begging. That's why I never complained about it.
Makes time go by
Bro,
faster.
Alfredo was that kid in 9th grade. That shit was hilarious, bro. Like,
What happened?
what do you call him?
Maya was pretty based in school.
Bro.
I had him for middle school, and he's done
Okay.
some funny shit in class.
Think about this, Joss.
What's up?
Would you ever sneak in to somebody else's high school?
Why not?
Why? No, but why would you?
Why wouldn't I?
The thrill of it, bro.
I don't understand what the fuck that even means, Joss. That was like that was savage.
That was other type of energy.
Goddamn, Joss. What
Directed
did I
at
do to you,
Ape.
Joss?
I'm 5 blunts in.
I know. I thought you'd be more peaceful.
I'm spicy.
You
I'm
look like you're
feisty.
about to fucking ball torture me and shit. Like, fuck, this is abuse.
It's just my face.
Jesus Christ, I'm a good man, Kev.
You don't like a little ball
You
torture?
you dress like a good man.
No, my mom told me I was a good boy. I'm a good boy.
It's kind of all that matters.
That's I could get down with that, bro.
Like, fuck, yeah, I ate for breakfast.
Right. Kev, what does the beard do for you? What does it add to your life to have a beard like the one that you have right now? What does that do for you? Does it
Get you bitches?
do you get beard hose?
I don't really like beard hoes.
Nah?
I mean, it's just, I can't, I'm lazy. And
Yeah.
I just go like that.
You just say fuck it. I respect that. I respect that honesty.
If you want to go technical, somebody in my past.
Dude, we
was
potted for,
warrior,
like-
so it was for punches.
This has been like a fucking endless series of shit talk. Yeah.
Yeah, we should. We've potted enough.
We can do that. Yeah, we can cut it out.
Yeah.
We can do that. We can stop talking.
No, I'm just saying. Regardless, I gotta cut it to like an
Yeah,
hour into
it's-
like
it's too
40.
much.
It's
In
gonna be too much.
conclusion,
Pink pussy.
I'll try to keep some of what we talk.
Well, pink pussy's always wanted. You know.
I
yeah.
can't.
if you open some legs and that
Respect
shit's
to
not-
everybody watching and listening.
Pink.
Well, not watching, listening.
Well, we talked about the different shades.
I'm high. It's
Okay.
420.
Yeah. Okay.
There are different shades.
Point taken.
So
Yeah, we were talking about that.
There's a whole episode. You guys check it out.
Yeah,
there are so many shades of pussy. It's incredible.
facts.
You speak about diversity.
Pink is my favorite color.
There it is.
Confirmation.
That's another vote for pink pussy right there.
Yo.
Pink is pretty.
Well, I think, you know what? I love the color pink on a pussy. It's a beautiful
What
color.
other shades are there? Brown.
Purple.
There's
Purple.
purple.
There's purple. They're
Ape
like light-
quote said purple is intense.
Yes, it's.
Which
Purple is
kind
intense.
of crazy, but
So think about it. Like no,
I
don't
respect
even
it.
wanna
Bro,
think about
why?
Let's-
No, what?
Yeah, it's. So
It's disgusting.
no.
That's why I
Damn.
said purple.
Get in there, Joss. Now you're fucking talking. Get in there.
It's fucking disgusting. It's a
Goddamn.
purple fucking pussy. Like,
She is in rare form
imagine.
today.
No, just imagine that shit. Like,
Just fucking activated her.
that's
This.
just nasty, and it's like, ugh.
How dare you take on anything except the pink pussy?
Exactly.
I'll tell your point.
Abe, I mean, Josh just disrespected a whole
Just
fucking...
destroyed the whole pussy community.
You
I
know,
don't give a fuck.
I was
Just-
I used to think like that until like there was a moment where like my toes were pointing like this and the sheets from
Hold on,
back-
Kev. Start again, because
Bro.
you sound like you're describing some
Yo,
fucking
fix the mic
sick
right
shit.
quick. Fix the mic right quick. Just like
Oh shit!
Savage.
This fucking leaning tower of Pisa
Josh
mic.
thinks it's a fucking toy or a dildo. Like, relax,
A little
man.
bit of that shit. Look, she's gripping on that.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, go ahead.
no, I think Kev was speaking.
You were telling a story about how you had your leg out and there was some shit that was getting,
What does that have to do with what I was saying?
I'm just trying to figure this out because this shit caught me off guard.
We've already
Josh,
passed
I
you,
feel-
yeah,
I'm
Josh.
dead, dude. I'm fucking dead.
We've already passed.
So purple pussy has the capability of making you point your toes.
What?
Is that like a
You never
glitch?
pointed? Yeah, you never.
like Michael Jackson pointing your
Like. Oh.
I understand what you mean, Kev.
And quench your butt cheeks so hard that you grab the sheets. That's
That the butt cheeks grab the sheets.
I'm dead.
You gotta have some big cheeks, right?
Oh yeah, I got the quads. Yeah,
You definitely gotta
yeah,
have
for
some big
sure,
cheeks, bro, to do that. Because you can't be grabbing
Unless you're like
sheets.
under the covers, you feel me? Like then you get like la sábana. Yeah.
You talking about like get a good grip?
Yo, what up? Focus on the pointing of the toes.
I'm just trying to. It's just an interesting. I'm like, what's this?
I'm too high for this.
But is he saying? Are you saying
I'm too
that?
high for this right now. This conversation.
You're the one that
But we
said.
got to get to the bottom of
What
this.
the fuck
Kev's
is
the one that
this
said
shit
that the
right
butt gets the.
now? What the fuck is this shit right now, dude? Well, I don't even know.
Okay, Kev, let me tell you like this.
Alright. Pussy.
Is it just the only purple pussy causes you to do that?
He
It's
said
just
pink.
it's just commonly
Oh my
more,
God.
more
Pink, I think.
prominent.
Oh, pink pussy causes you to do that.
There is some, but not.
Wait, what was his theory?
That purple pussy is savage.
No, what with the toe thing though? Because that's what was it?
Purple pussy has the capability of making you point your toes during intercourse.
I don't know,
As
bro.
a
I've
man.
done a lot
As a
of.
man.
You've been in a lot of purple pussy.
Well, I wouldn't say a lot.
Okay,
What is a lot?
maybe like
Yeah.
a lot's like
10?
over 6, 7.
10?
That's where I would say that's a lot.
I don't think it's over 6.
Okay, but you've definitely dived in some purple pussy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what, you weren't a fan of it, or it was just an intense
I
feeling?
didn't say I wasn't a fan of it. I'm just
Okay.
saying that like there's something unique about pink pussy.
When you want to get the adrenaline boost, you hit the purple pussy.
The adrenaline boost.
Because you said it's an intense feeling.
This is not fucking Mario Kart, motherfucker.
It's
This
not
is
politically correct, if you will. It's less politically correct.
what is?
Purple pussy.
You saying purple pussy?
We're talking about savagery and why does it make you point your toes? It's like, why? You want to know why, bro?
That's one of the wildest theories I've ever heard, ever.
So
You were talking about how she makes the pussy contract when you're inside of her. Is that what you were
They're
getting
called
at?
Kegels.
yeah,
Yeah,
no, we're talking about the color purple.
we're just talking about the color.
Do you like purple? No, I mean I'm not comparing it to pink.
It's a perfectly fine color. There's nothing wrong with purple. It's a beautiful color.
I mean, colors aren't even real if you really want to.
Well, you don't have to fuck everything up, do you? I mean,
I'm just saying. No, like literally, I think yellow's not even a real color. I promise. One of those colors.
Dad,
yeah, I know.
what is this?
It's because
Well, it's the best. I mean,
Fuck with yellow, bro.
you were saying colors don't exist, right?
yeah,
Okay.
Count.
it's all subjective. 'cause
So pink pussy doesn't exist.
We all see the color
hold
differently.
On,
no?
hold on.
You really want to deal with the consequences of this?
Oh my god.
Maybe what's purple to Kev might be pink to you.
6 and 9, baby, 6 and 9.
I'm dead.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
And that, my friend, is how the cookie crumbles.
I guess we'll end it right there, with guys. I'm fried.
It's been an honor.
Thanks for listening. Happy 420.
Happy 420, bitches.
Oh.
All right, peace.
Time for that.